What's up YouTube? Brian here, back again with another rod review, and today we're going to be looking at this bad boy, the Shimano Expride 7.2 medium light spinning rod. But first, definitely check me out on Instagram. If you are not following me there right now, you should be, because that's where I post most of my on-the-water content, a lot of my snarky commentary on the fishing industry, and just all sorts of interesting little tidbits. So most of my content that I produce while I'm out fishing is located on my Instagram, so please give me a follow. Also, we just crossed 8,000 subscribers here in the YouTube channel, so I just want to thank everybody who has smashed the subscribe button. Thanks for the likes, thanks for all the comments. I appreciate all the support that I get. That being said, let's just dive right into this rod review. I know this is one that people have been waiting for, because everyone knows I'm a spinning rod addict. I've touched so many spinning rods in all sorts of price ranges. I'm always changing out my technique rods, trying new things, playing around. And when Shimano Expride released this 7.2 medium light in the lineup, which is a fairly newer rod to the lineup, it didn't come out in the original Expride line, I was kind of excited because in the past I made a video many years ago about the 6-foot 10-inch spinning rod, which was I think it was a medium light, and a lot of people assumed that was going to be like the key drop shot rod in the line. I personally found that rod to be extremely soft, and it was way too soft for me for drop shotting. I tried it for a whole summer. I did not like it. I made a video about it, and then I ended up selling it. And I have not revisited the Shimano Expride spinning rod line for a drop shot rod until the 7.2 medium light came out. Now, people have been talking about this rod and its proficiency at drop shot when it came out, and so I had to get it on my list. And when Omnia got them in stock this summer, I grabbed one, and I have been using this rod as my absolute 100% primary drop shot rod all summer. So let's talk about it. Shimano, they listened to the feedback. I gave some criticism. A lot of people gave some criticism about the grips, and they fixed it. So in the new Shimano Expride Bs, so the Expride B, the new rebooted Exprides that came out a little bit ago, they fixed the grip. They now have the material of the grip above the lock nut, which is great. So the lock nut's just down here instead of at the top. They put all the meat of the grip up here. Feels amazing. I love this grip. It's got pretty dang good cork. We got to remember one thing when we're talking about Shimano Exprides. These things cost $280, and you are getting a extremely premium, refined product in the Expride B line for that $270. Pound for pound, this is the best rod line, just overall rod line, that you can get between $250 and $300. No one even comes close to this. Nobody touches the Expride. And this is coming from experience. I've used Exprides. I've used a lot of stuff from St. Croix and to local companies and to the Megabasses and the Levantes and all these things. No one makes a rod around this price point that even comes close to this. And the Exprides also punch up and are as good, if not better, than some rods in the $300 price point, maybe even creeping up into the $400. These things punch above their weight because of a couple things. Number one, the weight. This thing weighs 3.6 ounces. 3.6 for a 7'2" medium light. Now remember, medium light means not a ton of material in the blank. It is a lighter rod. But let me just give you an example. The NRX 852S, so the 7-foot medium spinning rod in the NRX line, the 852S, one of the classics, that thing weighs 3.4 ounces. So this is only 0.2 ounces heavier than the NRX. That's how light these things are. But with the lightness is you're getting an amazing balance. This is a Shimano Vanford 3000 on this reel. On this rod. So it's Shimano Vanford 3000 with a full spool of 10-pound braid. And look at that. The balance on this thing with a lightweight reel is amazing. So this thing feels extremely light in the hand because of the amazing balance. The grip is great. If you choke up, which I usually do, I'm a pinky gripper. I got tons of material left above the pinky to grab on there. It's not the same reel seat as the NRX and the Conquest, so it's different parts, but man, this thing is super comfortable. It's made of the same CI4 material that the lightweight Shimano reels are made out of, so you got that carbon composite grip. You got the monocoque handle, which they say adds a bunch of sensitivity, which who knows? I don't know if it does or not. The rod's plenty sensitive. Who knows if this makes it more sensitive? I don't know. Marketing will say it does though. But anyway, so balance is amazing with a lightweight reel. I had the Xsense 3000 on this rod as well, and it balanced just as good as it does with the Vanford. Even with a Stratic 2500, this thing feels amazing. You can even run a Stratic 3000. It's going to feel great. It doesn't really matter what spinning reel you put on this, but just know that if you put a lightweight reel on this, it's going to balance and feel beautiful, not tip heavy whatsoever. Okay, so the fit and finish is amazing on these rods. I can't tell you how good these things look in person. You're getting stainless steel SIC guides. Now, it's interesting that they got the weight this low, and I'm pretty sure these are stainless steel. Someone correct me if they're titanium, but I'm like 99% sure these are stainless steel. Hopefully I'm not wrong. But the nice thing about stainless steel versus titanium is they are very durable. You can bend them back really easy. Titanium tends to bend a little easier than the stainless. The stainless are pretty dang durable. Durability is also a big thing with X-Prides because they have the high power X wrap on the blank. So if you've never owned a Shimano rod that has the high power X, like the Conquest or the X-Prides, you can beat the crap out of these blanks and they do not show scratches or wear or any kind of like battle scars on these blanks. So you can be really rough with these rods and they still look as great as they did the day you bought them. So the nice thing about the high power X is the longevity you're going to get out of the looks of these rods. They're going to look great for years, even if you're really hard on your gear. I'm not, but these do slap around on my deck, on my bass boat, and bang into each other when I'm using them. So, okay, so fit and finish, top notch. Balance, great. Weight, bonkers. The high power X is cool. Great guides, stainless steel, SIC. Can't go wrong. Those are just de facto guides in this kind of price range. Techniques. Okay, so let's talk about the action. What's interesting about this rod is it is not a traditional medium light. It is not a noodle. It's got a medium light tip. So let's look at the tip real quick. So the tip on this rod, very much a medium light. I'm not pushing down on this very far. This tip has got a lot of softness to it. But boy, does the backbone kick in quick. So here, I'm going to push this down. You can see where this backbone hits right here. And it basically turns into a medium from here down to the grip. I mean, it's boom. It goes medium light, medium light, medium light, transition to a medium, and then medium the rest of the way down the rod. So you're getting a medium light tip with a medium body, which is perfect for drop shotting because you want to have that soft tip to lift and get the hook into the fish's mouth without bending it out. And you can use really light wire hooks. So I'm running a Ichikawa CT hook, but there's a lot of great drop shot hooks that I've tried with this. You can do the owner cover shots. The VMC Nico hooks are fine. You can use owner mosquito hook even works perfectly fine. The Ichikawa Mukad hook is great. Any light wire drop shot hooks you want to throw on this thing. The RoboWorm hook is great too. You got that tip is soft enough there. You set the hook and you lift and you start reeling. You're not bending that hook out. You're going to get really great penetration. And when you're fighting a fish, especially crazy smallmouth in open water, that tip has a lot of flex to give that fish a lot of wiggle room to run and do its dancing and jumping and all sorts of craziness. So fantastic tip, tons of power. I mean, it's not, it's got enough power. It's a medium down the body. So techniques, obviously a really great drop shot rod. Personally, my drop shot setup on this right now, and for almost all the time, is a spinning reel with 10-pound braid. I'm using Daiwa J-Bag Grand as usual. It's like my favorite braid. And then I go to a 10-pound or an 8-pound, sometimes maybe even a 6-pound, but usually, I'm sorry, not a 10-pound, always an 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. Sometimes I'll drop down to a 6 if I feel like I need it and it'll help me in the confidence department. But so 10-pound braid, 8-pound leader. I usually use just your typical Palomar knot, then run it back through, and then I'm almost always using a lead weight. I fish a lot of rock in Wisconsin, and tungsten is not a good idea because you're going to break off. You're going to get the weights get stuck in the rocks a lot. I'm often fishing walleye and smallmouth in boulders and gravel and all that stuff. And I just bought a giant bag of bulk quarter-ounce lead weights, and I've been going through it for years. So yeah, I'm a big fan of lead. I do not 100% don't believe that tungsten for a drop shot is completely required. I mean, I've used tungsten, I've used lead. People say, oh, drop shotting with tungsten is more sensitive. I think it's placebo. I don't know what's the difference. I feel a rock whether I'm using lead or if I'm using tungsten. I don't think it matters, to be perfectly honest. So just get whatever's cheap. Use lead. I use lead all the time for drop shot. Don't think you need tungsten. Complete overkill and a waste of money. But if you want to use tungsten for all your drop shotting, go right ahead. You got the cash to spend on it, by all means. Okay. The other trick that I use on these rods, I'm just going to talk about this real quick, is for the weight holder, is I use a hair tie. So this is like an old trick for a lot of people. I know that I didn't invent this trick. A lot of people do this. I learned this from someone who probably learned it from someone who's learned it from someone. But go grab your daughter's, your mom's, your girlfriend, your wife's hair tie, slap it down the end of the rod, and then stick the drop shot weight in there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, nice way of securing your drop shot in the rod locker or in your kayak or whatever. But yeah, use the hair tie. It works really well. Sensitivity wise, this rod is, I wouldn't say it's amazingly sensitive, but it's perfectly sensitive for a $250 to $300 rod. It's not super high end, but also you're running braid and you have I'm using mostly a 1/4 ounce. You're almost always feeling the bottom on these rods. And when a fish does bite it, you can feel the tick. You can feel a fish pick it up. Often you feel your weight come off the bottom. So, when smallmouth, especially smallmouth, sometimes they just pick it up and just start swimming away with it. It's not like a violent bite. It's just kind of like you get in their mouth and you just swim off. And you just feel the lack of weight on the end of the line. And that's usually an indicator to reel down and lift and set the hook. So I'd say sensitivity-wise, it's not like the best of the best, but I think if you're shopping for a rod in this price point, you're going to be pleasantly happy with the sensitivity you're getting out of this, especially if you're running braid. So I really don't have anything bad to say about this. I will say there are other techniques that this rod does do really well. Number one, this is a great Ned rig rod. So if you run a lot of lighter weight Ned rigs, you're not throwing like the really heavy deep ones and going in 25 feet of water. If you're fishing typical Neds around grass, lighter stuff, 1/8 to lighter, maybe even a 1/4 if you really want to, but I would go 1/8 or lighter on this thing. Great Ned rig rod. Picks up all the bites. You can really lift and set the hook really easy. Fun Ned rig rod. Also, this is pretty decent at throwing like finesse paddle tails. So if you're throwing like 1/8 ounce or lighter paddle tails up in shallow water like spark shads or 3.3 inch Kitex or smaller smaller bait fish style paddle tails, this thing is a great finesse paddle tail bait or rod. Also, this can throw little hard baits. So if you're throwing the shad wraps or your little balsa cranks or maybe your finesse jerk baits, definitely can throw hard baits as well, especially at that whippy tip. You can really get a bait out there. In a pinch, you can absolutely throw a spy bait on this, 100%. It's got the whippy tip. It's soft enough. You can run light enough line on this. You can absolutely bomb out a spy bait on this. And if you're in a pinch, you could absolutely throw hair on this too. I don't see why you can't throw a hair jig on this. You might use a little heavier hair jig than usual or get a nice big piece of Senko, chunk of Senko and throw it on the hair jig just to give it a little weight. But yeah, definitely can hair jig. You can definitely finesse Nico rig. Ned rig is perfectly great. I'm not going to jig with this thing. I'm not going to use finesse jigs on this because I don't think it's got the power to really set the hook to get a jig through a fish's mouth. But all those other light finesse tactics are definitely going to be great on this. It is a fantastic drop shot rod. So if you're looking for a slightly better drop shot rod, than that $200 sub price range, this definitely should be something on your radar. These are harder to find now. The secret is out on these rods and how versatile they are for a medium light. So finding this model, especially like I got this off Omnia. I'll leave links in the description for all the stuff on my drop shot setup. So please check the description for links. But man, when these do come in stock at Omnia, they fly right out. So set your in-stock alerts, set the email alerts. So when they do get these, you can grab them. But yeah, I really don't have anything negative to say about this rod. It is a fantastic rod. It's become my main drop shot rod all season. It's just as good as the Megabass Whip Snake. It's shorter than the Whip Snake. I mean, the one thing I will say about this rod is it is a 7.2, but when you're fishing it in your hand, it does not feel that long. It feels like a 7 foot or less because it is so light. It's balanced so well. The tip is so light. This doesn't fish like a big rod, even though it's 7.2. And because of the longer tip, you really can get nice long casts out of there. I do have a catch video. Before we end the video, I'm going to show you guys a catch. This is me setting the hook on a Wisconsin smallmouth. We're going to jump over the laptop real quick and watch the footage here. Here we go. You can see the action on this thing. I was active targeting this fish. I saw a couple fish by a rock. I was fishing a Hazedong shad, nose hooked.
Oh, him. As soon as it hit the water, you swam over it.
So right here, you can see the action on this rod. like I said, tip is extremely soft. You got a lot of room on the tip for it to bend over. But look at when you get into those last three guides, this thing is stiff. Like it moves right into that medium power pretty quick.
There's two of them there.
So yeah, we'll watch me net this fish. The typical 2-pound smallie. A lot of these in Wisconsin. But yeah, so, you know, I hope that helps illustrate the action on this rod. Great drop shot rod. Can make nice long casts, get that drop shot out there. This is a fun rod to throw the Hazedong in. So if you guys have never thrown a Hazedong shad, the Megabass Hazedong shad, these guys, nose hook them on a light wire hook on a drop shot. Just, you know, this kind of hook right through the nose, throw it out, and then you can swim it in, especially for open water swimming fish like walleyes, smallmouth, or, you know, even roaming largemouth. You get that bait down there, get it in, and then just slowly, all you do is you just turn your handle and just let that Hazedong swim in real slow. And that is a really, really, really great fish catcher for smallies and walleyes. I caught so many walleyes doing that, and smallies. Even crappies I've caught doing that with the Hazedong shad. So underrated technique if you're not throwing the Hazedong shad for North Country or even just reservoir or smallmouth or whatever. You absolutely should be on your radar. I'll leave links to all this stuff down in the description. If you've made it this far in the video, please hit like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. I got plenty of more rod reviews coming up. We got the Megabass FMJ is probably going to be next, and then all sorts of stuff. The Jungle 7 I need to do a video on really quick as well. So anyway, that being said, thank you. Please smash like, please hit subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll see you in the next one. Appreciate it.